Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. Today we're going to continue our look at the ultimate frugal tip list. That's a mouthful. But what I've done is I've gone through and I've listed as many frugal tips as I have done to help me to save money so that I can invest. And there's a bunch. This will be the third installment, and we haven't even covered a little bit, so there's gonna be quite a few of these. But they're in no particular order. I sat down one day and I started brainstorming about all the ones that I've done, and I have done all of these. There might be a couple that I added that I thought about. But for the most part, I've done most of these. Now, the first one I want to talk about today is to plan your chores with your friends and your neighbors. As an example, you both have to go to the grocery store. Unless you live out in the country, where you can grow your own and slaughter your own and do your own thing. But if you live most places, you both have to go to the grocery store, you both have to do laundry, you both have to take your mail. So if you, as an example, let's say you and your neighbor make an agreement. This week I'll go to the grocery store, we'll take one car, and we'll save gas on one car, and next week we'll do the opposite. That way you're saving gas money on one. Or you could say, well, if I take your mail and put it to the post office, maybe you could water my cat when I go on vacation or whatever. But what I'm saying is, if you coordinate with other people, it takes all of the onus off of you and it divides it between you and somebody else. And that's powerful if you use it. The next one I want to talk about is level payment plan for utilities. Now, when you think about that, you think, well, how is that frugal? I mean, you're still going to pay the same amount of money, yes, but now you can plan on it. One thing that really killed my budget when in my first, 20 years, before I started being frugal and worrying about money, is, I would think I would be going along great, and then all of a sudden I get a $300 utility bill in January right after Christmas, and I was like, holy cow, how am I going to pay for that? And so now you're scrambling around trying to come up with $300. If you put it on a level payment plan, you know what it is every month, and I recommend you do this with any bills that you can. Just put it on a level payment plan, count on it, put it in your budget. That way there's no major surprises. Now this one, I've never heard talked about before, but I've done it. And this is a way to save water. When you flush, and I don't remember the exact thing, but when you flush, let's just say as an example, there's 5 gallons of water that go down. I really don't know what the number is. But let's say it's 5 gallons. And you want to try to save money. If you don't know how to adjust the float in your toilet, all you have to do is put a brick or two in there. Because the brick, an actual brick from a building, will displace the water as it's filling up. So let's say you put a brick or two in the bottom of your tank of your toilet and you flush, and then when it fills up, instead of putting 5 gallons of water in it, it'll only put 4 gallons. That doesn't sound like a lot, but do that over a year. That'll save you some money. Now another one I want to talk about is your mail. And this is one I think all the time management people and all the frugal people, I think they all agree with this one. And I've done this most of my life. When you go to your mailbox and you get your mail, most people will divide it up. Here's my bills, here's my junk mail, here's my personal, okay? What I do is I go stand next to the garbage, and if it's junk, it goes in the trash. If it's a bill, it goes on the right part of the side of the counter, and if it's personal, it goes on the left side of the counter. That way, when I'm done, I got all my junk done. I put all my bills in the same place so that when I go to pay bills, they're all there, and then the personal I take and go deal with. Now, why is that frugal? Because that saves you a ton of time. I mean, the way I used to do it, and the way my first wife did it, was we took the mail, we put it in a stack by the door or on the kitchen table, and then one of us would look through it and put the stack back, and let the other one look through it and put the stack back, and then one of us, whoever went to pay the bills, would go through it and have to. So no, we've touched it 3 or 4 different times since we got it from the mailbox. And each time you touch a stack of mail, you're wasting 2 or 3 minutes. Multiply that times 6 days a week. Times 52 weeks a year. That'll save you some time. Now this is one I heard, and when I first heard it, I thought, man, this is silly. Who's going to do that? And I call it filling up time. As an example, it's really common today for people to be listening to podcasts while they're driving or jogging or waiting on appointments. I think that's great. I think that's a great multitasking way to do things. But in the physical world, when you can't use digital, you should follow the same concept. What do I mean? Well, let's say you have a doctor's appointment. You and I both know that doctor's appointments always run over. So what are you going to do with that 15 or 20 minutes while you're sitting there? Always have something to do. Like balance your checkbook. Bring along a little book to read. Make notes for things you need to get done today or tomorrow. Make outlines for YouTube videos. But whatever you do, try not to waste your time. That way, what time you have, you will be maximizing it, taking care of little things so that you don't have to deal with this on your time. You can deal with it on the doctor's time. All right? The next one I want to talk about is something, and I got to be honest, I know this is going to sound sexist, but I've noticed this in my life. It's called multitasking. Now, I have known 1 or 2 men in my life that are good multitaskers. Most of us suck at it. You know, I can't speak for everybody else, but when I get a task, I put blinders on, and I am all about that task until it's done. And if you throw anything else in there, you got zero attention of mine. Women, on the other hand, and I truly believe that this is a genetic thing. I can't prove it, but I think it is. Women are the best multitaskers I've ever seen. I mean, and I've seen this in action. And I don't mean just doing. I heard somebody tell me this one time, and I can't remember where I heard it, but I watched this in action. He said, if you ever want to see something amazing, watch a guy sitting at a desk having a conversation, and somebody else is talking to him off in his one ear. The guy will stop the guy he's talking to, turn to the other guy, answer him, and then come back to his conversation. That's what a guy will do. A female, on the other hand, will finish a conversation with the one that she's talking to, and then turn around, even if it's 5 minutes later, and turn around and talk to the other person and answer that question. Now, it sounds silly, but think of the time that female saved. She saved her time from breaking and going back and forth, and she saved both of the other people's times by finishing what she started. I think it's great. Now, I had a boss one time, and he was one of the few males that I knew that could multitask. And he did it by using sticky notes at the time. I'll tell you how many years ago it was. But he carried around a date book, and he put sticky notes on the outside and a rubber band down the middle of the cover. And everything he needed to get done, he put in sticky notes on the left side of his thing, and as he accomplished each one, he moved the sticky note over to the right side. It worked. I watched that man do 3 or 4 different things at one time. He'd be reading over an insurance policy, talking to somebody on the phone, interviewing somebody in front of him, and keeping his desk organized, all at the same time. I think that's very cool. I've tried to do that. I'm just not wired that way. But if you can multitask, you can cut your time in half at least of the time that you do boring and mundane things. And with that extra time, you can do all kinds of things that can help you to build wealth. The next one I want to talk about is to plan chores for the day and try to make a circuit out of it. As an example, Sunday is the only day I've got to get all my chores done. I work 6 days a week. And the chores that have to get done are groceries, laundry, and ministry work, which involves recording videos and uploading. Those are the chores that have to get done. So my laundromat, I drop my laundry off, I drive a half a block, go to the grocery store, and then while I'm doing those things, I have recorded my video in the morning, and it is uploading onto YouTube while I'm doing my grocery shopping, and when I get back from grocery shopping, it should be completely uploaded. That's the closest thing I have come to multitasking, and it works beautifully. But plan your chores and do the chores in a system that will maximize your time efficiency. Another thing that I have done is if I'm uploading a video on YouTube, I'll find a bunch of mundane things to do around my apartment, like water all my plants, clean out the refrigerator, clean the kitchen, because to upload a video takes about an hour. So if you take that hour and you maximize that time and figure you do 52 videos a year, that's 52 hours of extra time that you got things accomplished. 52 hours. Now, if you take that 52 hours plus the time you're going to save doing some of these others, I mean, there's an unlimited amount of time that you can save if you plan your time correctly. Now, this is one that most people have a problem with, and I can speak to this not just in the secular, but also in the ministry work. People who are in ministry hate to say no, because they want to help as many people as they can, as many ways as they can, and God bless them for that. However, the cost of doing that is a lot of times the things that they want or need to get done don't get done because they're doing too much for other people. So this frugal tip I want to call just say no. Just say no. You remember the old phrase from Nancy Reagan when she was talking about her war on drugs, and her phrase was, just say no. And no is a complete sentence. If somebody says, hey, can you do blah, blah, and you just say no. You don't have to say no because, or no but, just no. That's a complete sentence. Now, if they're going to question you about why you're not going to do something for them, then you simply ask back another question. What makes you think I have to do anything? The things I do for you, I do because I choose to. This particular thing I choose not to. I am not going to do that. That's hard for some people, and I get it. I really do get it. But if you learn to say no, you'll have more time to accomplish the things you need to, and if you consolidate your time, you'll still have more time to help other people. But the first step is you've got to learn to say no. Now, the last one I want to talk about before I go is brainstorming. Now, brainstorming to me is, I put myself in a frame of, as an example. As I alluded to earlier, I work 2 jobs. Both jobs, I have a lot of time by myself. So I put myself in a frame of mind where I'm thinking about finances or real estate or credit cards or banks, and then I just think of all the possible things that are related to that. And I just start writing. I don't edit. I don't stop the flow. I just write anything that pops into my head. How do you figure your income to debt ratio? What kind of forms do you need to get it, and I just write it all down. And I stick it in my pocket. And it usually only takes about 15-20 minutes. But brainstorming is an activity. And so for me, I write all my ideas down, and then I come home, I take all the sheets of paper out of my pocket, just like a writer, like in mystery plots for movies and stuff. And I take all the sheets of paper out of my pocket, and then when I have a quiet time where I can sit down and make rational decisions, I go through and rethink each thing I wrote down. And if it cuts the mustard, then I add it to my always ongoing list of titles for videos. And I've got a sheet out there. There's probably 50 video ideas I haven't even touched yet. And so every once in a while, when I've got a minute or two, I grab out one of the titles and I put in all the skeleton of the video and set it off to the side. And in that stack, I've probably got a dozen or so videos ready to go with the outline and everything. All I got to do is sit down and record it. But it helps me to not waste constant time trying to come up with video ideas. I just do it on the fly and then edit later. And you can do that with anything, not just videos. I mean, whatever it is you do, that you want to brainstorm ideas for saving money. How to invest your money, where to invest your money, when, anything you can brainstorm ideas for, that's an activity, and you can do that at doing just about anything else. Just don't squelch that by saying, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I? Just write it down. A lot of great ideas come out of brainstorming. Well, brainstorming takes us up to frugal tip 21. So we're doing, this is frugal tip number 21. And we've got, I don't know, we're not even half done yet. So this is the ultimate guide to frugal tips number 3. I don't know how many more there will be, but we're going to cover all of them because the name of these videos is the ultimate guide. And every tip I can ever think of is going to be in these videos at some point. Well, you guys have a great day, a great week, and happy frugal investing.